and unbolting the door, presented herself to the astonished Theodore. "Young man," said she, "though filial duty and womanly modesty condemn the step I am taking, yet holy charity, surmounting all other ties, justifies this act. Fly, the doors of thy prison are open. My father and his domestics are absent, but they may soon return. Be gone in safety, and may the angels of heaven direct thy course." "Thou art surely one of those angels," said the enraptured Theodore. "None but a blessed saint could speak, could act, could look like thee. May I not know the name of my divine protectress? Methought thou namedst thy father. Is it possible? Can Manfred's blood feel holy pity? Lovely lady, thou answerest not. But how art thou here thyself? Why dost thou neglect thy own safety, and waste a thought on a wretch like Theodore? Let us fly together. The life thou bestowest shall be dedicated to thy defence." "Alas! thou mistakest," said Matilda, sighing. "I am Manfred's daughter, but no dangers await me." "Amazement!" said Theodore. "But last night I blessed myself for yielding thee the service thy gracious compassion so charitably returns me now." "Still thou art in an error," said the Princess. "But this is no time for explanation. Fly, virtuous youth, while it is in my power to save thee. Should my father return, thou and I both should indeed have cause to tremble." "How?" said Theodore. "Thinkest thou, charming maid, that I will accept of life at the hazard of aught calamitous to thee? Better I endured 1,000 deaths." "I run no risk," said Matilda, "but by thy delay. Depart; it cannot be known that I have assisted thy flight." "Swear by the saints above," said Theodore, "that thou canst not be suspected; else here I vow to await whatever can befall me." "Oh, thou art too generous," said Matilda; "but rest assured that no suspicion can alight on me." "Give me thy beauteous hand in token that thou dost not deceive me," said Theodore, "and let me bathe it with the warm tears of gratitude." "Forbear," said the Princess; "this must not be." "Alas!" said Theodore, "I have never known but calamity until this hour. Perhaps shall never know other fortune again. Suffer the chaste raptures of holy gratitude; 'tis my soul would print its effusions on thy hand." "Forbear and be gone," said Matilda. "How would Isabella approve of seeing thee at my feet?" "Who is Isabella?" said the young man with surprise. "Ah me! I fear," said the Princess, "I am serving a deceitful one. Hast thou forgot thy curiosity this morning? Thy looks, thy actions, all thy beauteous self seem an emanation of divinity," said Theodore; "but thy words are dark and mysterious. Speak, lady, speak to thy servant's comprehension." "Thou understandest but too well," said Matilda; "but once more I commend thee to be gone. Thy blood, which I may preserve, will be on my head if I waste the time in vain discourse." "I go, lady," said Theodore, "because it is thy will, and because I would not bring the grey hairs of my father with sorrow to the grave. Say but, adored lady, that I have thy gentle pity." "Stay," said Matilda; "I will conduct thee to the subterraneous vault by which Isabella escaped. It will lead thee to the church of St. Nicholas, where thou mayest take sanctuary." "What!" said Theodore, "was it another, and not thy lovely self, that I assisted to find the subterraneous passage?" "It was," said Matilda; "but ask no more. I tremble to see thee still abide here. Fly to the sanctuary." "To sanctuary?" said Theodore. "No, Princess, sanctuaries are for helpless damsels, or for criminals. Theodore's soul is free from guilt, nor will wear the appearance of it. Give me a sword, lady, and thy father shall learn that Theodore scorns an ignominious flight." "Rash youth!" said Matilda, "thou wouldst not dare to lift thy presumptuous arm against the Prince of Otranto." "Not against thy father, indeed, I dare not," said Theodore. "Excuse me, lady, I had forgotten. But could I gaze on thee, and remember thou art sprung from the tyrant Manfred. But he is thy father, and from this moment my injuries are buried in oblivion." A deep hollow groan, which seemed to come from above, startled the Princess and Theodore. "Good heaven, we are overheard!" said the Princess. They listened, but perceiving no further noise, they both concluded it the effect of pent up vapours; and the Princess, preceding Theodore softly, carried him to her father's armoury, where, equipping him with a complete suit, he was conducted by Matilda to the postern gate. "Avoid the town," said the Princess, "and all the western side of the castle. 'Tis there the search must be making by Manfred and the strangers. But hie thee to the opposite quarter. Yonder behind that forest to the east is a chain of rocks, hollowed into a labyrinth of caverns that reach to the sea coast. There thou mayest lie concealed, till thou canst make signs to some vessel to put on shore, and take thee off. Go, heaven be thy guide. And sometime in thy prayers remember Matilda." Theodore flung himself at her feet, and seizing her lily hand, which, with struggles, she suffered him to kiss, he vowed on the earliest opportunity to get himself knighted, and fervently entreated her permission to swear himself eternally her knight. Ere the Princess could reply, a clap of thunder was suddenly heard that shook the battlements. Theodore, regardless of the tempest, would have urged his suit; but the Princess, dismayed, retreated hastily into the castle, and commanded the youth to be gone with an air that would not be disobeyed. He sighed, and retired, but with eyes fixed on the gate, until Matilda, closing it, put an end to the interview, in which the hearts of both had drunk so deeply of a passion which both now tasted for the first time. Theodore went pensively to the convent to acquaint his father with his deliverance. There he learned the absence of Jerome, and the pursuit that was making after the Lady Isabella, with some particulars of whose story he had now first become acquainted. The generous gallantry of his nature prompted him to wish to assist her, but the monks could lend him no light to guess at the route she had taken. He was not tempted to wander far in search of her, for the idea of Matilda had imprinted himself so strongly on his heart, that he could not bear to absent himself at much distance from her abode. The tenderness Jerome had expressed for him concurred to confirm this reluctance, and he even persuaded himself that filial affection was the chief cause of his hovering between the castle and monastery. Until Jerome should return that night, Theodore at length determined to repair to the forest that Matilda had pointed out to him. Arriving there, he sought the gloomiest shades, as best suited to the pleasing melancholy that reigned in his mind. In this mood he roved insensibly to the caves which had formerly served as a retreat to hermits, and were now reported round the country to be haunted by evil spirits. He recollected to have heard this tradition, and being of a brave and adventurous disposition, he willingly indulged his curiosity in exploring the secret recesses of this labyrinth. He had not penetrated far before he thought he heard the steps of some person who seemed to retreat before him. Theodore, though firmly grounded in all our holy faith enjoins to be believed, had no apprehension that good men were abandoned without cause to the malice of the powers of darkness. He thought the place more likely to be infested by robbers than by those infernal agents who are reported to molest and bewilder travellers. He had long burned with impatience to approve his valour. Drawing his sabre, he marched sedately onwards, still directing his steps, as the imperfect rustling sound before him led the way. The armour he wore was a like indication to the person who avoided him. Theodore, now convinced that he was not mistaken, redoubled his pace, and evidently gained on the person that fled, whose haste increasing, Theodore came up just as a woman fell breathless before him. He hasted to rise her, but her terror was so great that he apprehended she would faint in his arms. He used every gentle word to dispel her alarms, and assured her that far from injuring, he would defend her at the peril of his life. The lady, recovering her spirits from his courteous demeanour, and gazing on her protector, said, "Sure, I have heard that voice before." "Not to my knowledge," replied Theodore, "unless, as I conjecture, thou art Lady Isabella." "Merciful heaven!" cried she, "thou art not sent in quest of me, art thou?" And saying those words, she threw herself at his feet, and besought him not to deliver her up to Manfred. "To Manfred!" cried Theodore. "No, lady, I have once already delivered thee from his tyranny, and it shall fare hard with me now; but I will place